Deconstruction Junction, where we deconstruct the thoughts that we have and the news and the ideas that float around in the world. Perhaps some of the things that we talk about today will be things that you consider in your life, or maybe we're going to discuss some things that you've never considered before. I'm Dr. Flo, not telling you what I heard, but what I know. What I know is that you're loved and lovable. You've always been loved and lovable, and you're going to be loved and lovable for the rest of your life. And every day I jump online and in real life to encourage, equip, and empower bold dreamers. Only the bold people. I can't do nothing with you whispering people. You shady, whispering shadow lurkers, you. I can't do nothing with you. Only bold dreamers to the front who want to use their time, their talent, and treasure for good on the planet. And of course, I'm joined every week by the fabulously talented and amazing Tara Paola Studio, who can introduce herself in 3, 2, and 1.
Hello. You said something about shadows, and it made me think of these books that I've been listening to. Where there's Once Born, there's Legendborn, and there's Shadowborn. Anyway, so it made me think of the Shadowborn, and it got me all in my feelings about a certain character who is not Shadowborn, but he's mixed Shadowborn and Legend. Anyway, it's a whole thing. Anyway, I'm Tara Priolo. I read books and listen to them sometimes. I am your resident Black biracial multi-passionate musician. I talk about the ish, all of the ish that nobody wants to talk about, and push you to do the same. And I enjoy coming here weekly. Although I will say that when I was prepping for today, when I was making the deck, I was like, I felt like for whatever reason, it was like a slow week in the news echelon. And I don't know why I felt that way, but maybe it's because I've been having a great week just watching Wimbledon, which is on behind y'all. The mixed doubles is on. The American lady won this morning. Tomorrow, Djokovic and what's his face? Yannick Sinner are playing each other. Number 6 and number 1. Okay. I will be there. 8:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Anyway, we would also love to hear your thoughts on what you're doing with your lives and what you're deconstructing in the little Your Name Here slot. So if you're interested in joining us at some point in the future, please visit lovedandlovable.bio.link and apply, or let us know in the WhatsApp channel or in the comments somewhere, and we will surely follow up with you. And excuse me, y'all. Y'all know I ain't lady enough to not burp in front of y'all. And so I just ate lunch, so the belches are going to be happening.
We'll talk about it in a little bit. One of my slides today is all about freedom. And if you can't be free enough to burp with your friends, then where can you be free? So much perfectionism in our society, and none of y'all are perfect. Not a damn one of you. I think your slide is first today. I'm also eating while I'm here in the podcast because I'm releasing perfection. I've found as I'm out and about in the world that people try to hold you to a higher standard than they hold themselves to. And none of y'all gonna check me about me being my imperfectly perfect self. So I brought my lunch in today. I brought my smoothie. I strolled in off the street in a fantastic walk and a shower. I did my hair. I put on a button up because I just feel free enough to be cozy in myself. Oh my God, what a throwback. It's been years since that song came out.
Throwback. I whip my hair back and forth.
Anyway, Tara's got the first slide today, all about weather events. You want me to go to the next slide?
Yeah, yes. And enlarge my territory. And I think there's 2 slides about this. Because there have been weather events over the last week and over the last few years. But anyway, this is from Climate Act app. I didn't know that was a thing. But anyway, a hotter planet equals longer heat waves. A hotter planet equals more frequent floods. A hotter planet equals stronger storms. A hotter planet equals faster spreading wildfires. A hotter planet equals harsher droughts. Climate change is already here and it's accelerating. The time to speak up and push for real solutions is now. I would also add that a hotter planet equals more disease. But there's that. And like I said, I think there's one more slide of this. Yes. Okay. So the Texas floods are probably the ones that y'all have heard all about because of the little girls camp, which is very sad. But we know the reasons why that particular incident is getting more attention than, say, the Chicago floods. But anyway, Texas floods thread drop. This is from somebody that I don't know how to say that handle, so I'm not even going to try. Texas is drowning, not just in water, in blood memory. Plantation counties underwater. Slave soil rejecting its harvest. You thought Juneteenth washed it clean? The Most High sent real deal cleansing. Vengeance is the Lord's. And you all can hear my WhatsApp going off. And if you are interested, you can join the WhatsApp community and get flares whenever Dr. Flo or I or other members of the community go live. So I wanted to bring this. Dr. Flo asked in the public Deconstruction Junction chat, is it happening more often, or is it just that the news cycle is picking up on it? I happen to think both. I happen to think that the news is using it as fear mongering, and not in a great way. But I disagree slightly with the first tweet or the first thread that I read off, which is that the time to speak up was now. The time to speak up has been and is currently. This has been present for a very long time. Climate change has been radically changing the earth, and these United States and coastlines and volcanoes and all of these things. And so I really, I do think that they are getting worse. I think we are hearing about it more often because of fear mongering, but I also think it's happening more frequently. Like in the Midwest, for sure, there have been conversations about, we've had 100-year floods, but now those 100-year floods are happening every 15 years or every 10 years or every 5 years, or we're topping temperatures every year instead of making records every couple of years. Up here, where it snows, we have records now over, like in Duluth. I think there's been snow records every single year for like the past 5-6 years, which is crazy. And so like that's just something that I noticed that I don't necessarily think that we talk about a whole ton, like the progression of just like that noticing. But then I also think that it's just the news media knows that it's popular, and so they're going to talk about it. And it is devastating that 160 some people have died in the floods in Texas. It is devastating that it happened. It was going to happen, right? The floods were going to happen, but the notification system was defunded by the governor of the state and the federal government. So this is all. Climate change has always been political, and it's showing up more now.
I think it's interesting that the key word of climate change that sticks out for me is change. And you know that a lot of humans, myself included, are change averse. So how do you think we're going to adapt? If NOAA and these other notification services and agencies are going away, what are you going to do to build a neighborhood WhatsApp or online portal where a community can alert each other of what's happening before the government does? It makes me think right now of a guy who's in hot water, one of our paler brothers and sisters who has the ICE app. And there's an app that he's built that can alert people when ICE is coming and where ICE is doing a raid, and to get the word out before the people can actually be captured. And I think we're going to see a lot of grassroots apps and community agencies sprouting up because the government is refusing to do their job. It's crazy. The tax rate hasn't changed, but they still want to give us less because we're so-called in crazy debt, even though it's all made up. And I don't understand still how the monopoly money of life allows us to create and co-create so much suffering. I think it's bullshit that the young girls had no clue that they were about to get swept away. And all the politicians can offer are thoughts and prayers about it. I think it's weird.
And not send FEMA in, right? I mean, that's what Trump and Kristi Noem are doing.
Yeah, they say that it took her like 3 days of the request sitting on her desk to approve it. Like, why would you not approve help for people who you know are actively needing it? Are you under a rock? Are you that dumb? This is why I don't believe in white supremacy, because supreme people would help immediately. That's what we saw. We saw people going, we saw 2 young brown children going into harm's way to help get those girls out. That's supreme love, supreme compassion, supreme empathy. People who can't offer that in no way can esteem themselves as a master or supreme race or leaders.
Right.
Show me the receipts.
Yeah. Yeah, I think also, like you were saying, a lot of community spaces are going to pop up for notification. Next door, I find out half my information about what's happening in my city from next door. I very rarely find it out from a government entity. Before I find it out from the people that are local to me. But also this whole conversation reminds me of the whole premise of the movie Twister. Y'all ever seen it? Y'all ever seen Twister? The whole premise of the movie Twister is that they're trying to find a way to give people more warning about tornadoes. That's like the actual plot line. It gets covered up in like a love triangle and things. But anyway, that's the thing. And that movie was made like 30 years ago, y'all. Like, and we're still talking about this. And rest in peace, Bill Paxton. You are missed by me personally. Because you made my favorite movie. Anyway, so it's just reminding me of like how long we've been dealing with the same issue, even if it's, not, it's fiction, right? Like that story is fiction, but it is heavily based off of the idea that in Tornado Alley, you don't get a lot of warning. And I also think that this will increase. I mean, it's, the government should take care of people. If the government is not taking care of people, then why do we have a government? That's where I'll do that. But I also think that people have become very complacent with being able to not be aware of what's happening around them because they have, their phones tell them or whatever. Not everyone goes outside the house and looks up at the sky and says, "Oh, I think it might rain." There are people that really do just rely on the notifications on their phone, which could be wrong, and are not aware what a rainy sky might look like, or what a cloud looks like or a storm looks like that could spin up into something else. That's information that I learned as a child, but I know everybody doesn't learn that. Like I know how to spot a supercell thunderstorm without a radar. Like I can be on the ground and know that it's a supercell or know that it's
how.
Straight
I'm
line
curious
wind.
now. How do you know?
Yeah, so it's actually one of the, and this is not always true, but when you look at the sky, and you're looking at a thunderstorm, essentially. So there's 2 things that indicate that it's like a good. It's got good wind coming up into it, which is what is an updraft, which produces tornadoes. Number 1, you could see a shelf cloud. which is just a curved cloud on the front of the thunderstorm. So you can see the thunderhead, but on the front of the whole thunderstorm, there's this shelf cloud, and it looks just like a shelf, a little curved thing. It has a shelf, and you'll feel a cool breeze off of it if it's close enough. And then the other thing that I always watch out for, and this is when I'm sitting on like a body of water or an open space. If you see a storm, like 3 separate storms, so you see a storm over here, a storm in front of you, and a storm over here, and they combine and form a U, that is typically a supercell thunderstorm, and you need to move. You need to get to safety because that thing will take you out. Like, just get out the way. Get however you can get out the way, get out the way. So those are the things that I picked up growing up in Tornado Alley as a kid. But again, like that's an awareness that was gifted to me from growing up in Tornado Alley and knowing that the notification systems were never soon enough to get us out of harm's way. And that was when they were funded, So
I saw the videos of people standing on bridges and having to back up, and eventually the whole bridge that they were standing on was submerged in water altogether.
Yep.
Wild. And for those of you out there, including the lady who decided to stay in her house when Mother Nature wanted to visit and her whole house turned into what I thought was a boat, don't do that. I didn't even bring the footage in today. Standing in your home saying, go away, go away, go away. It's not going to make Mother Nature stop. Rain dances don't make it rain. Perhaps cloud seeding does. But yelling at the sky, please stop, as your shoes float in your living room is peak stupidity. Knock it off.
And the Weather Channel, listen, the Weather Channel taught us that because the Weather Channel done sends their freaking meteorologists into the hurricane. Like, what? No. Stop doing that. Stop sending the storm chasers. Stop putting people in hurricanes. Stop standing on the bridge where the flash flood is coming. And if you're going to say it's dangerous, if you are saying that it is too dangerous for anyone to stay, then do not send people into the line of fire. That is the dumbest thing about the Weather Channel to me.
Well, I mean, they are getting paid to be sensational, and they actually grew up seeing storm chasers and people on TV reporting as they're about to be blown away. I mean, the Anderson Coopers of the world love that. They feel like that's what they were created to do. Go and stand in the bomb zone with the bomb prevention devices strapped to their chest. I mean, they love that. And if you love it, then go for it. But if you are just a lady with the MacBook Pro sitting on the countertop with the shoes floating, you're not the same, ma'am. And once again, screaming, go away, while you got hurricane weather happening is not the wisest decision, in my humble opinion.
Flash floods are actually one of the most dangerous things. I feel like we don't talk about flash flooding enough. Flash flooding is really bad. Like, it's really bad. You can get swept away so quickly. So I'm just saying, listen to the people. If they tell you to leave, don't be the person that stays for the hurricane because you think you're the one to live. Okay? Don't stay in your house. If they tell you to evacuate, you should leave. Okay? That's all.
People who think they know better than Mother Nature will never cease to amaze me. Let's talk a bit today about freedom. Freedom is the one thing that everybody says they want, but it actually offends people. And I wanted to ask you the question today, Tara. Why do you think freedom, which everybody wants, is a thing that offends them? When people see folks standing in their joy, standing in their power, standing in their love, there are times when on Clubhouse and other spaces that I inhabit and where I present daily my idea that we are loved and lovable. We've always been loved and lovable, and we're always going to be loved and lovable for the rest of our lives. that freedom for me of being and standing in my Black boy joy is offensive to folks. When I put on the purple wig and I decide to gender bend for the day and express myself with the purple wig and what have you, it is so offensive. And I'm trying to figure out why this quality of freedom, everyone wants spiritual freedom, physical freedom, financial freedom. Everybody wants to feel the agency of making choices in their lives. Why, when we see people finally get free, is it so offensive to us? And why do we stand around as people like Palestinians are boxed in and not champion their freedom, or the women in Sudan who are being forcibly raped as we speak? Why don't we say anything to grant freedom to people or to encourage freedom when it's something that we all universally want, in your opinion?
I'm catching I'm catching and throwing the mic. That you gave it so gently, and I'm just grabbing.
Well, let me just say, my freedom these days looks like chilling the fuck out. We're going to talk in a little bit about my recovery story and what I'm going through, but freedom for me, I thought freedom for me was a loud yell. I thought that it was protesting in the street and yelling at masked men who are trying to terrorize us. Freedom for me looks like being the coolest cucumber in the whole salad.
Did you see my cucumber in the general chat? Anyway, I talked about it this morning in the Clubhouse room, y'all. Join us at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. sometimes on Clubhouse Day.
I'm not seeing your phallic cucumber. I'm not seeing your phallic cucumber yet, but you really want me to see it. And the thing I thought about this morning when you were talking about it was that some people have shallow spaces for large cucumbers. Some people don't have shallow spaces and they can take larger cucumbers, but that's a different kind of podcast.
I think that this baby cucumber wouldn't. I don't. You're going to want me to wait until it gets much larger.
It's a bullet. It's a baby bullet.
It's like this big.
It's a bullet cucumber. I got it.
Like this big. It is what it is.
And you're right. It can't do anything for me. It can't do anything for me.
Hi, Mr. Blue Jay. I think that's my grandma. The Blue Jay's been here the last couple days, and my tree is just loaded with apples. But anyway, rest in peace, Grandma. And I see you. I see you. So I think part of what you just said is the whole thing. So you said, freedom to bring back change. Like, your definition of freedom has changed. And what I've been fascinated, I asked it on Threads last night. I said, what color is freedom? And then I put it on my feed and I said, I think part of the issue why people are so afraid of freedom and why they affront people that have some modicum of freedom, or have some modicum of expression that is different, right, than those locked in chains or those in conformity, is because they literally don't know what freedom is. They've never allowed themselves to visualize freedom. And Christiana Smith was talking about this the other day, and she was really talking about, how, like, we say we want all of these things, but yet the reason that nothing ever changes, the reason that we stay in the cycles that we're in, is because we don't take the time, and her whole thing is collective imagination, right? But we don't take the time to discuss what is freedom to me personally and collectively. Like, what does that actually look like? So when we say, well, we want the world to be free, okay, we want the world to be free, but that could be a different thing to you and to me and to, 3 doors down.
Freedom is very subjective.
Freedom we never had that conversation. Yeah, and some people say freedom, and they mean that capitalism and the government as it exists still exist. I don't agree with that. I don't believe that that's freedom. I believe that capitalism and the current government and white supremacist Delulu are all chains that we choose to keep upon ourselves. In the same way that we were talking about somebody or in the clubhouse room yesterday, and someone said, maybe it was it was yesterday at the mock auditions, about vulnerability. And then we started talking about, oh, what were we talking about? Where was that going?
I don't know where you were going, but I know that some people think that vulnerability equals freedom, and other people are scared of vulnerability, and it's a prison for them.
Yeah, and we were talking about like being a person. I think the person that was talking about this said person of color in the acting space, and we were talking about that and the unworthiness. That's what it is, the unworthiness, right? And the unworthiness epidemic, as Dr. Flo called it yesterday. And this is all roped into why people are so afraid of freedom. Why won't people go on a joy walk? Why won't people start a love revival? Why won't people sing in the streets? Why was I so scared? So in one of the programs that I'm in right now, one of the challenges is that we are to dress or do something to not act like, but feel good and feel like an icon. And so one of my stretches was like, I'm going to take a picture in a public place, because I always take the pictures in my backyard. It's very safe. Nobody can see me. It doesn't matter if I look good. Like, I can always change before my students come over, da, 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 da. So this morning at the grocery store, tell me why in my freedom, my little heart was pitter-pattering because I decided to take a fucking picture in the aisle. Like I put my little phone, y'all, and Dr. Flo's on my phone. I got Inception.
This is wild. This is wild. We got to talk about this because there are people walking around in life who are scared to take a picture in the grocery store in front of the Raisin Brand. Right. What the helly? What the helly on say?
So for me in that moment, freedom was taking the picture. It was a releasing of the chains. So freedom, I think, is both, this aspect of change, but it's also something different. And y'all want to see the picture? Hang on, I'll go find the picture, because I also challenged myself to I only took 2 because I panicked. Okay.
It's okay.
So here's one.
And drop it in the group chat.
Where
you look amazing.
I'm smiling at Piper because Piper was doing something silly. And there's my second one. And this lovely Black man walked behind me and I freaked out and grabbed my phone and ran out of the aisle. But I did it. So anyway, all of this to say, I think that we are so it's so ingrained in our education to conform and to strip ourselves of actual individuality, even though capitalism also preaches bring yourself up by the bootstraps, you're the only one, da 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 da. But the reality is that I don't see anybody taking pictures at the grocery store, which makes me then scared to have my freedom of taking a picture at the grocery store, which is crazy.
Which is why leaders must go first. I'm glad you did it. The next time I'm in the grocery store, I want to take a picture of the grocery store. I mean, that's not a thing for me. I live stream in the grocery store. Right. I talk shit in the grocery store. The other day I was on Clubhouse in a celebrity gossip room. This white lady was all up in my face. I out loud said, she must have never seen Black people before, sir. And the man was walking by. Another white guy was walking by. I was like, she must not know that Black people are the shit, sir. Because we are allowed to express ourselves wherever we feel like it. But I'm proud of you because I've always seen you as a TED Talk walking. I didn't know that you were personally afraid in your freedom of snatching shots in front of the seasonings or wherever you were. That's good. I'm proud of you for doing that.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean that, and yeah, even so much as Piper hollering in the grocery store is a whole makes me panic, because I don't want to be ostracized, right? Because part of this too, and why are people scared of freedom? I think because people who have freedom or some modicum of freedom, right? Because none of us are free until all of us are free, are lightning rods.
Say that again.
People that freedom are lightning rods, and we attract people to us in ways that we're not always comfortable with, even though, like, even if we know we're the lightning rod. Do you not like this?
Positive and negative attention. And you
Yeah,
never know whether you're going to get positive attention from the people in real life or in digital spaces about the attention that you're getting in the moment. It could go positive, it could go negative.
right.
These days, I'm like, it's all about me. You know, with people like Grandma Dolores leaving the earth, with people like my friend Jeff leaving the earth, with my dearly departed Jen not being here, and my dead daddy, why would I not want to get all of the juice out of my life fruit? And that includes pictures in front of the baking supplies. I'm like personally and professionally proud of you. I didn't even know that was a thing until you just vulnerably shared it on the pod today.
I didn't know until yesterday in one of the meetings. It was like, what would be a stretch for you? And I was like, well, I take care in my appearance like daily. Like my closet isn't exactly as I would like it. Like I would love more black owned products, but like the unfortunate truth is that like small business, black owned businesses tend to be more expensive. And so it's harder to afford that. And particularly the pieces that I want. And there's not as many like brick and mortar black owned clothing stores that I can go to and try on the stuff when I don't know a lick about you. And so I don't know if you're making clothes for black bodies or white bodies. Okay. Y'all hear what I'm talking about? Because some of us have curves, even though we're smaller. Okay. Anyway, so like I was like, okay, the stretch is that I have taken pictures in front of that window. I've taken pictures in the backyard. Like I'm very comfortable taking pictures of myself, but only if another person isn't watching me, right? Only if I'm not like in a public spot. Like I'm not going to go to the mall to take a picture, but maybe now I will. Maybe I'll go to the mall tomorrow. You know what I mean?
You must, because how we are, and I teach this in my studio, I teach this in my practice. How we are in one area of our lives is how we are in every area of our lives. How are we going to show up on the stage of life and connect with the people who we are sent to the planet to help heal? And I say help heal because we're not responsible for people's healing. We're just helping them along the journey in our own encouraging way. How are we going to bridge that gap without wanting to be fully seen and standing in the light and being seen
that's
as
a
we
part of it,
are?
right? The
Yeah.
want to be seen, but then taking pictures in your backyard. I'm not being seen. You know, I'm being seen by the dog next door that barks at me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But like, hey Tony, oh, I'm glad your 11-year-old daughter is here. Awesome. So yeah, I dropped those pictures in DJ in the public DJ chat. And I'm working on like even yesterday the selling post that I posted. That's a stretch for me because it's not my face, but it is a picture of me on a selling post, which is just like I don't really feel like it's necessary to put my face on everything. But then I also simultaneously coach Dr. Flo to put his fucking name on everything. Like you know what I mean? So like make it make sense.
Tony, anyway. For those of you who are listening back on the podcast and the television show version of this, he says love, 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 and knowledge. And I don't believe in adult conversation, so no need to change anything for her. I don't believe in raising other people's kids.
If you think she needs to be here or she's okay being here, then that's your choice.
I don't have any children, and I won't ever have any children, so that was never one of my concerns. Ask Sarah about it. I don't raise your kids. I feel the same way about these people who are like, "Oh, the rap music is and the video games are so violent." If you think the rap music is violent or the video games are violent, don't show it to your children. If you think Uncle Flo has a potty mouth, don't bring the kids around. You know, that kind of situation. But yeah, that's my freedom.
Don't bring around that lady. Don't bring
I mean. Yeah, freedom was the theme, and we have it always in the ways that we sure. And thank you, Tony, from People Are Our Greatest Resource for stopping by and bringing your daughter through.
The Flint water crisis. You can flip it and make it big. This is just a little update. I'm not sure. I mean, we can talk about it, but I just wanted to bring it. So after more than a decade of national outrage and grassroots activism, the city of Flint, Michigan has finally replaced 11,000 lead pipes, a major milestone in a crisis that poisoned thousands and exposed deep environmental injustice. A court report filed this week confirmed that over 28,000 properties were affected and that the state is nearing completion of its court-ordered pipe replacement project. Yeah, so we've talked about Flint many times on this podcast and in the spaces, and so those of you that don't know, essentially people were being poisoned with lead because of old piping that was not being replaced by the city. And again, why do we have governments if they're not going to take care of people? Why do we have governments if they're not going to take care of people? And it has taken many years, I do believe, because that court order, it's been a while, I think.
We've been talking about the lack of clean water in Flint for almost, if not over a decade.
Right.
But we know why that need was not prioritized. It's because often the needs of Black and brown people are ignored. This brings me right back to something I talk about every week on Deconstruction Junction, and I won't stop talking about it. Why does the so-called master race lack empathy? Why can they not see the hurting and the pain and the agony of people who don't look like them? Why are they able, culturally and collectively, to look at the suffering and fly to Greece? Senator Ted Cruz. And so we cannot call ourselves superior. We cannot stand on the pedestal of being better than other people. And we certainly can't call ourselves masterful or the smartest if it takes us over a decade to bring clean water to Flint.
Right. And we celebrated the 10-year anniversary, not celebrated. I guess the 10-year anniversary was last April, April 2024. So it's been 11 years. And this settlement agreement was made in 2017. And they got in trouble again in February 2023 for violating the terms. So that's...
Once again, it's the lack of empathy. And people have... no one has refuted me on this. That those who are in the ruling class that oftentimes do not look like me, they have a deficit that's not in the economy. They collectively have a deficit of empathy. I've got paler brother and sister friends who saw me walk to the soup kitchen and were very silent and acted like I deserved it. Why? Because collectively and individually, they lack empathy. They had the money in Flint to replace the pipes. They didn't want to. And there's a reason for that. And I keep pushing the light workers of all colors to start talking about that. Why the collective lack of empathy? Why do they want to see people suffer who've already suffered for hundreds of years? Why do they over-index the suffering that happened in the Holocaust when the Middle Passage experience in chattel slavery was exponentially longer?
Oh, that thread is in here somewhere.
We'll get there. But not before talking about community. Community. That four-letter word. Where your treasure is, so says a certain sacred text. Where your treasure is where your heart will be also. And I don't think that everyone treasures community. And I wanted to have a conversation with you in the audience today about why that is. Why do we know, like freedom, why do we know community and freedom is something that is necessary, but we still get into our ego bubble and push it away.
Okay, knee-jerk reaction, which is my freedom. So speaking in draft, as y'all know, and just a reminder, y'all, we don't see each other's topics really until we get here. Like, we literally, like, we put the deck together. Sometimes Dr. Flo sends me an email saying he's clear. Sometimes I send him an email saying I'm clear. And then the other person puts the stuff in, and then we show up here with you all. So, like, these are conversations.
And to extend that, the reason why is because we want to have a conversation like we would over the table. Do you even go to the Olive Garden? Is that something that you do? Olive Garden.
Ross likes the Olive Garden. Ross likes the Olive Garden, but like I feel like Olive Garden has food that I can make at home. But I do like Biaggi's. So that's my tea about Olive Garden, is that like I just feel like I make better pasta than them. So
True. Not hard to do when the pasta's coming out of a bag in a microwave. I see you, Darden, Darden Inc. I used to work for Red Lobster, which is a Darden company, and so is Red Lobster. And that pasta's coming out of a bag in a microwave. So you could do better at the house with more love and everything like that. If we were at Biaggi's, this is what Tara and I talk about. Deconstruction Junction came about because we were talking each other's heads off in private space on the phone about stuff just like this. And we said, well, we're curious if one or two or three or now several hundred other people would be interested in hearing what we would talk about over a glass of wine that we don't have, but that's coming later. And just a healthy conversation amongst friends. So yeah, we've not talked about any of this shit, but it's something that's on our hearts and minds all the time. So
absolutely. So
and that's community building.
Yes. So my knee-jerk reaction in talking in draft is that we have expectation. And like Michael Singer teaches us about preferences, right? And bothering ourselves, I think we have expectation on how people should act. And that expectation, which turns into control, is then something that ruins community, right? And it ruins freedom. Because if the expectation is that your freedom looks like my freedom, and that my community looks like your community, or that my experience of your community is the same experience that I have of my community, of your community, then we are at an impasse, right? And so I think people fear community, perhaps because like me, when I think about like, oh, I'm looking at this community, I'm wondering if it's right for me, right? I'm wondering if I can exist in a community with some people, not with Love and Action Network. I'm talking about like encountering another community. One of the things that I really rail against ever since finding that quote of cults and movements is that I don't want to enter into spaces of groupthink. If I'm not challenged by what the community is saying, and if there aren't people in there saying, well, why would you say that? Or why do you believe that? Or I disagree, right? Like, then I think we have a problem. And Tony has been one of the people in the community that many people have, we were in a clubhouse room. There was a slight disagreement that happened on like a reaction to something. And that is healthy community. And that is so scary for people who are used to and taught to need and crave conformity, expectation, etc. And so and also that there's a sameness, right? There's no room for change in a group think expectant space. And that's not what community is. And so I think we just have a really there's a misunderstanding. There is an unfactual definition of community, right? Out there that really gives people a bad taste in community. And I think also I find, and I'm me qualified to speak on this, because I'm half white. I don't know if y'all knew, but I think white people in particular are really taught to never be wrong. And in community with people, when it's greater than a one on one, they are wrong frequently. Frequently. And that is a really uncomfortable space. In the same way that anyone at the level of a doctorate and beyond is scared to be in a space where they are wrong or that they may be challenged because they have spent 20 years studying something and they're not challenging themselves because the community around them, the people around them in their academic circles never push back on it. And so, like, knowing that that is the type of community that's created because of the proximity of people, right? Like, think about your neighborhood, right? The people that you're by, right? If it's not a diverse neighborhood, which is true for a lot of people, a lot of people don't, a lot of white people don't have black people in their neighborhood. A lot of black people don't have white people in their neighborhood. A lot of black people don't have Latino people in their neighborhood. A lot of black people don't have Asian people in their neighborhood. A lot of black people got black people in their neighborhood.
And even if they have them, they're not talking to them. I'm not talking to my neighbors. So, yeah.
That part. I mean, I got white neighbors across the street, Hispanic neighbors next door. I talk to the Hispanic ones. The white ones I never see. This guy over here creeps me out, but he's white. And there's black people at the top of the neighborhood. And then I have a black student that's in the neighborhood, black and native, and then a white student that is also in the neighborhood. So there's a lot of diversity in terms of like the types of people that live in my neighborhood proper, but that's an exception, right? And you create community with the people that are around you for the most part. And so I do think that this group, think this echo chamber mentality that is taught by capitalism and taught by academia is really harmful to the idea of true community, right? Of spaces where you can disagree, but you can still be in proximity to each other, right? And not have necessarily an expectation of people acting a specific way or agreeing on everything. So I guess that's why I think people fear community.
Makes me think about the emotional fortitude, the emotional regulation, the physical regulation, and everything that's required to fit into a community while also maintaining your own identity. I think people have a hard time. I say that every day on Clubhouse, how to show up and be yourself while also fitting into the discussion. That's the masterclass we need to be teaching. How to maintain your autonomy and your individualism while also moving with the collective. And that quote that Tara was pointing to earlier is when everyone thinks the same thing or is forced to think the same thing and moving in the same direction, that's a cult, which we're not interested in building here in Love and Action Network. A lot of us have accused us of that out loud to our faces before they ran for the hills because they really didn't want community. They wanted people that they could be nosy with and watch. If the person that comes to mind right now is the person, I can see your body language, Dr. Flo. I can tell you don't like me. Well, I mean, listen, who wants surveillance when you really need support? And yet, people who are thinking differently and have a diversity of thought moving in the same direction is how you build true community. And some of us are done with the ways in which community moved for us in the past. I've been very, very clear about the fact that I came out of the cult of Christ. Even last night, I was around a lot of cult of Christ people who were very clear that they wanted me to know that Jesus died for my sins. Well, I'm not sure if Jesus died for mine. If you want him to die for yours, then so be it. But there shouldn't be a severe need for us to think alike in order for us to have an intelligent conversation, one human heart to another human heart. I think we put a lot of barriers of entry to what we can accept about people. And like Tara told you earlier, I sit with a bunch of people daily who don't feel the way I feel, but because I'm cozy within myself and I've done that inner work, I don't have an issue. Whole white lady dropped the N-word right in my face this week. And I was like, you know what? That says more about her than it does about me.
Right. And that is that what you're pointing to right there is like, how is it actually affecting me proper? Right. Like, okay, I see somebody, to use the example of wigs earlier. I see someone who is quote unquote male presenting, whatever that means, wearing a purple wig. And
Keep going, I'm gonna get some water.
That makes me quote unquote uncomfortable, or it makes me want to say something to him or something like that. The question I ask myself is, how does that reflect on me? How is it affecting me? Because at the end of the day, him wearing a freaking purple wig to the grocery store does not affect me. It does not affect me. It does not change anything in me. It does not make me wear a purple wig, right? And I had this experience back in the day when I really I thought it was the coolest thing when I saw people that fully had blue and green and purple hair and had a bunch of tattoos, and they were parents, but it also made me ooh, they must have lived some type of life, like a very judgmental aspect of it, right? And what it was like, how does it affect me? I was jealous, but I was like, they shouldn't do that. Why shouldn't they do that, girl? You're jealous of them. Go freaking do it. So I dyed my hair blue to see what it felt like.
Not jealous. My therapist was one of my therapists, and I've had many over the years to heal some pretty heavy shit. It was my therapist that clicked me into that people in my community and that strangers may actually be jealous of me and my freedom,
Right.
both to myself and in community, and that I would have to learn to deal with the jealousy of others in this life in order to truly live my dreams. That's crazy that you would. I didn't expect that word to come out today.
Yeah, but that's true, right? It's a true thing. Like when you see someone expressing themselves in a certain way, like for instance, there's this girl that pops up on my TikTok feed every so often. And I don't even know what her page is about. But I see the videos that TikTok serves me of her are her redoing her claws. And she has these long ass nail attachments, right? That are super curved. And it's always showing me this. So she's always redoing it. She wears all of this jewelry. She's got 30,000 necklaces. She's got rings on every finger. Her hair, she's got feathers in her hair. And every time I see her, I'm like, God, I used to see her and be like, yeah, but now I'm like, actually, it's really cool that you have something that you adorn yourself with, that you're known for. People want to know how to do her claws. Now, would I ever do her claws? No, because I don't want to poke myself in my own butthole. But but also, it is really cool. And that kind of acceptance, instead of placing my expectation of what professional or what successful or what freedom looks like onto another human that I don't even know in a parasocial relationship, feels so much better. It feels so much better to be over here wow, that's actually really cool, girl. Go off. You
don't want to be a joy thief in your life. There are people who wake up in the morning going around the world in their scrolling and their doom scrolling with all of these judgments and preferences, just wishing they could take the joy of the claws. I love what you call them, claws.
She literally calls them claws.
Away from other people. Just don't, whatever you do today, don't be a person that, I call it squinty eye energy. People that are like,
I had a really good squinty eye 15 years ago. I was a professional.
Yeah.
Girl, why would you wear that? That looks horrible. Why would you do that? Why do you wear your nails so long? Why do you know?
And while walking in forgiveness, complete forgiveness of your former self, do you think that it's because you were judging yourself?
because I wasn't allowing myself the freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I was in a world of conformity. I talked about this yesterday in the mock audition room. I am in a field, and Dr. Flo knows this well, even in the musical theater field, which in my opinion has a little bit more freedom than the opera world, which is very much show up in your damn jeweled dress, wear the heels, make sure your hair is not curly and not crazy. It should be straight. Make sure your makeup is not too loud. It should be neutral. Make sure you look pretty. Make sure you're prim and proper. Make sure your accessories aren't too loud. And oh, by the way, make sure you don't actually step too far away from the piano because you might scare someone. That's the world I live in. So anyone that was outside of that, right? Like even like let's we're talking about things that I've like never maybe talked about on the podcast, but the jealous reaction comes up when I see a Black opera singer doing their shit with braids in their hair. That is a freedom that I have never allowed myself. Right? I've never allowed myself for various reasons, right? Not the least of which is how people would look at me for braids and being seen, like we were just talking about with the grocery store stuff. But also, like, I would see people inside of opera with a nose piercing and be like, you can't do that. Like, why can you do that? Girl, go get yourself a nose piercing. Girl, go do your ear like fancy. Girl, wear the loud earrings. Allow yourself to do that. Right? Because like
And y'all need to help me encourage Paolo between now and her death, whenever that is, to get the fucking braids.
Right.
She's never had the Black girl.
I'm probably going to text her and be like, hey, I don't know what I need or want. Can you help me? And see what she says.
I want to see the photo because I know that you're going to look blackety black as fuck. And I just need to see it before I leave the planet. But we've been working on this for like 4 years.
4 years,
confidence and the courage in community to find the person who's the most appropriate, because you can't have everybody touching your crown.
Correct.
Okay. So who does Tara want to put up with for 4 hours in that braiding chair? Right. It's gonna be a commitment.
And it has to be. Listen. We were just talking about acceptance and expectation. It has to be a Black person that is accepting of biracial people.
Which we discussed here in this podcast is not as common of a thing to find as you would like.
Correct. Because all skin folk ain't kin folk, child.
They sure the fuck aren't. They sure the fuck are not. Yeah, I learned that the hard way. I told them last night in one of the clubhouse rooms that I've reached out to both Black churches and white churches and been ignored by both because of who I choose to love. And love is supposedly the greatest commandment that the master teacher taught. But the way I choose to love is not within the bounds of how they want me to love. And so they had a hard time taking care of me if they took care of me at all. But it's fine. These things led me down a path of addiction. And I would like to give a special shout out to everyone who is dealing with addiction today. I got you, Tara. I would like to give a special shout out to everybody who's dealing with addiction today. Addiction comes in many different forms. Some people are addicted to food. We watch in our house almost every night 1,000-Pound Sisters. We love Tammy and Amy. We wish that they were not 400 and 600 pounds apiece. But we do watch the show every day, and we are into their life and their flow. So there are people out there who are addicted to food. There are people who are addicted to material things. There are people out there who are addicted to substances. And I wanted to talk a bit today about addiction because everyone who is addicted to something, my last addiction was cannabis. Before that, it was nicotine. Before that, It was alcohol. And these are things that have ebbed and flowed throughout my life. Just know that people who are dealing with addiction are trying to soothe some kind of energy in their hearts and in their minds and in their bodies. For me, with my last addiction, I wanted to not feel as much as I was feeling in life. That's why I chose to abuse substances.
Flow, here is your reminder. Love and action programming. Flow, here is your reminder. Love and action programming.
That's my reminder to be on my mark and on my assignment. I used substances and abused substances for the last 7 years because I did not want to feel the pain of what it meant to be adulting in this life. Over the last 4 years, Tara, who is one of the best Judys and one of my best friends outside of my husband on the planet, watched me ride the wave of forgetting and remembering, forgetting and remembering, forgetting and remembering who I am as a spiritual giant on the planet. We've talked a lot about how we can have a fear of failure in this life, but we also talk about fear of success. Some of us have gifts that we know about. There are people who we help within our organization every day who don't know their gifts, and we work with them through all of these tools and tests and things to discover their gifts. For those of us who have actually come face to face with what we're good at, sometimes it scares the bejesus out of us. So much so that we are scared of taking pictures in the grocery store, which still surprises me. And y'all heard about that a couple slides ago. We're so gifted and so talented, and we fell in love with ourselves, maybe not every day, but we've fallen in love with ourselves enough to know that we deserve more in this life and that we can go get it. And then here comes the self-doubt. Here comes the anxiety about doing the work. Here comes the depression that we feel when we haven't done enough or we're not measuring up to our personal standards and ideas. And so I tried to smoke mine away, y'all. Every fear, every depressed thought, every anxious thought, I tried to push it down. And what happened with me was I hit the upper limit of my addiction, and then, of course, it wore off. So I needed more. And then when that having of more wore off, I needed stronger. And I got to a place where the things that I was smoking started to make me sick, started to cause me to not eat, cause me to fight those who wanted to love me deeply and profoundly. I'm talking about this today and probably in many weeks to come because I'm 3 weeks sober, relatively sober. I'm still doing some rock star things. But I let that which we inhale for the TikTokers, I let that go. If something in your life is making you feel crummy, if the food is making you feel bad because it may not be the most nutritious stuff that you've ever put into your trap, the food is making you feel bad, if what you're inhaling is making you feel bad, if what you're putting up your nose, so I did lots of that in New York City, if it's making you feel bad, or if you're not doing any of those things and your thoughts are the things that are plaguing you, this idea that I'm not enough, I'll never be good enough, No one's paying attention to me. We talked a lot in this community about that lie, that no one's paying attention to me. No one's validating my feelings. If you're addicted to stinking thinking, I want you to know that I understand. I really do understand. And at some point, we're going to have to choose ourselves. At some point, we're going to have to choose the healed versions of ourselves. Today was the first time in 7 years that I took a walk, not wanting to escape the walk that I was on. Today was the first time in 7 years that I didn't want to rush back to the house to smoke a pipe to feel okay. And what's crazy about it, in my experience, is that the stuff that I started that was supposed to calm me down only made me worse. You run to these things because some of them are chemically engineered to make you better. 3 weeks ago, after many years of toying with the idea of getting into my true freedom and falling into the loving embrace and the safe embrace of beloved community, I said to Tara, I said, my stomach hurts. My head hurts. Every 2 to 3 hours, I got to go and re-up on the back lawn to feel okay. And it makes me feel okay for about 30 minutes. And then I need it again. Tara, what's going to happen when I go to sing in Japan or in Brazil or in Guatemala and those substances aren't there? Do I want to be focused on finding that substance to get my next fix? Or do I want to have freedom to just be with myself and love myself exactly as I am without the need for the extra? And the beautiful thing about the human body and the human spirit is that it's just add water, just add whole foods. And then the body will do everything that it needs to do to find balance. And my heart goes out to every addict on the planet who, like myself, were throwing themselves, Tara, out of balance to try to find balance. That's a vicious cycle. I do not judge it. We saw Mary Lou.
Yes, Mary Lou Retton. Amy.
Famous Amy Lou, Mary Lou, all a Lou to me. Cindy Lou Who. We saw her yesterday get pulled over with a DUI. A cry for help. Intentionally throwing oneself out of balance, thinking that it's going to make us feel better. And then getting mad, sad, and depressed when it doesn't. Once again, it could be overindulging in the food. It could be overindulging in the drugs and alcohol. It could be overindulging in the coffee. It could be overindulging in certain thought patterns. But anything that's pushing you away from your center, I would encourage you to have a conversation with yourself about it and see if it's really something that you want to hold on to. Tara, what thought form were you the most addicted to in your life that you had to set yourself free from?
Oh boy.
You can ask a question, man. I'm a very curious person about people. I think people are fascinating. I think I'm fascinating. Was there something in your life that you had a lot of, maybe in your college experience or in your childhood? You mentioned earlier that you grew up as a biracial person. Was there any part of your experience in your path that you were addicted to thinking about all the time and ruminated about that you finally had to
I
put
mean,
down?
I think like so many have. um, he knows the reference. Um,
Ah!
like so many do.
So many.
I really, and this has happened, it's like Dr. Flo was pointing to. It's addiction is a cycle. And I think that, a lot of people that haven't been addicted to substances or think they haven't been addicted to substances um, really hold a lot of judgment and expectation for what addiction actually is, which is disease, dis-ease caused by the environmental factors around us, like Dr. Flo just so eloquently talked about in his life story in the last 7 years of his life. And so, like so many, a lot of the things that we're healing from and a lot of the cycles that we fall into are due to childhood conditioning, right? And so one of the biggest things that I often fall into is apologizing for my whiteness, right? And this shows up in many different facets. Right now, we're coming back from, and Dr. Flo is helping with this, and another coach is helping with this, and friends and community, certainly being in Love and Action Network, is coming to actually charging again for things, because the apology is like, I can't charge because I have some white blood in me, and so I can't get the wealth because it belongs to Black people, or it needs to be redistributed to Black people because Black people have you know as we all the things that we talk about on this podcast, right? So that's how it's manifesting currently, right? That apology for being lighter, that apology and the survivor's guilt, and the Dr. Flo said something in the room, it might have been last week, um, about Haitians and how the only person in the room that might not be stopped was me. And I didn't tell Dr. Flo this. Y'all, like I said earlier, we come to this podcast and we talk like we would in private about these things. But he said that, and it really, like, I heard it and I was like, there's the survivor's guilt again. Because while I am very attuned to and very knowledgeable and very connected with the Black part of me, right? The black hole of me, in fact, the WHOLE, right? The black hole of me. I still live every single day being able to walk on the street and knowing that I could be the person that stops my darker melanated neighbor from getting shot. And that is a cycle that is never ending, but it is an addictive cycle that allows for stopping, right? Because if I just don't do anything, if I just stay over here, well, then I don't have to apologize for my whiteness, or I don't have to justify my Blackness, right? I don't I if I don't ever get the wealth, then I don't have to answer to the great them, right? Or I don't have to be ostracized even more from the Black community, right? Or I don't have to be ostracized from the white community. And yeah, that is what I will eternally be healing from, and fall into and jump into the hole and trip into the hole and come back out of the hole and fall back in, and and it's that's the cycle.
The one thing I want to convey today, 3 weeks out of my dark night of the soul, and by the way, y'all, highly productive stoner.
Highly productive stoner.
87 weeks of concurrent programs, multiple Broadway shows, 50, 60 hours plus a week in corporate in New York City, high-powered professional jobs in marketing and business development. I did it all, putting all the things up my nose, and I would have smoked you if I could find a role big enough. So I'm not saying anything about what you might be going through or what I was going through. I'm not even going to judge my past or judge my thoughts about the past anymore. And if there's something like the thought form that Tara just shared or substance that is getting in your way of letting your God light shine, consider having a conversation with yourself about letting it go. And Tara can tell you, she, in her own loving way, didn't really want me self-harming my voice and my lungs and my mind. She didn't want me losing all of my brain cells in this way. But it's not for us to judge someone else's experience and experiment in their lives.
Right. Well, and back to the community conversation, the expectation conversation. I had never been, I mean, I had a friend in college that I was close-ish to, who also the chosen drug was weed. And sorry, TikTok, F1. So but I had never been in such close relationship with a person with as many identities as Dr. Flo holds at once, that can bring really horrible hatred from others, but also self-hatred. I mean, being raised in the cult of Christ and then coming out on the other side, even just being a musician, is a wild experience. And Dr. Flo has other layers, as do many, but Dr. Flo has other layers that have made that transition even more painful, right? And even more difficult to rise above, right? And lives in a society that teaches us to hate both. It teaches us to hate men. It teaches us to hate Black people. And it teaches us to hate gay people, right? All of those are different. And so that's a lot, right? So I'd never been in such close proximity with someone that held all of those identities, but also was, as Dr. Flo just called it, self-harming. And I didn't know a ton about addiction, but I knew enough to know that, like, you know, he said something in like one of our first voice lessons together. He was like, maybe, you know, like, I'm sure the smoke doesn't help. And I just looked at him and I said, it's not my place to tell you what to do. Like, I can teach you anyway. Right. And I have other students that most definitely are smokers, whether or not they tell me. Right. It is not my place to tell you to stop your addiction. I said it before, we all have addictions because we are constantly in dis-ease. We are, in fact, as a society, addicted to dis-ease. If we were not, capitalism, white supremacy, and bombs would not be continuing to fall from the sky and surrounding us. That is the utter truth. The utter truth is that we are addicted to struggle. We are addicted to pain. We are addicted to inflicting pain on others and ourselves. We are addicted to harm. We are addicted to death. We are addicted, and we call it joy, and we call it happiness, and we call it solving. And what the lie is, the greatest lie, the greatest addictive lie, is that we need something other than ourselves and the people around us in order to heal. That we just need that next cup of coffee, that we just need that new thought, that we just need that new motivational teacher, that we just need that next coach, that we just need that next voice teacher, that we just need that next stage, that we just need that next drug, that we just need that next drink, that we just need that water, that we need something outside of ourselves in order to be free. It is the greatest and most ingrained lie of our lives. And it is the lie that we are all fighting against. But it is a lie.
And pending Tara Praolo's forthcoming New York Times best-selling book choices, which is an inside joke that we have. We all have them. We all have the choice today to choose differently. I knew that my stomach would hurt more by quitting. I knew that my head would hurt. I knew that I would be a raving and raging bitch to myself and to those closest to me. And I still had to make the choice, Tara, to walk out. The headache's gone. My appetite's back. I'm having the craziest dreams. That's something that happens once you stop numbing your brain with the special hippie lettuce. Your dreams start to come back, and they are wild. And I feel so good to not have to walk over to the shop every day or every other day to purchase something to make me feel better. And I thank you on a recorded line. I thank you privately. I thank you publicly. I will continue to thank you, Tara, for believing in the wholeness that we teach in Love in Action Network. If you come to any of our programs, and I encourage you to do so, when you step into the room, the first thing we say to you is wholeness, Tony, wholeness, Angie, wholeness, Flo, wholeness, Tara. It's because we want to see you the way love sees you, as whole, imperfectly perfect, whole, and complete, exactly as you are. And I'm one of these people who believes that you continue to see someone in their wholeness, in the ways that Tara always saw me in my wholeness, that eventually people will click in and rise to that. We're not leaders here in Love in Action Network who lowers the bar for people. So many people leave, fuck you, Flo, because they want me to lower the bar. You know, they want me to be a basic bitch. You know, they want me to not do everything that I'm capable of doing. No, we hold the standard high here, and we do our very best to see people in their wholeness. And if I can't see you in your wholeness, or if I'm struggling to see you in the wholeness, I leave you the fuck alone. Ask the people who know about me. If I cannot see you in your wholeness, if you are that agitating to my spirit, they finally blocked me on TikTok, Tara. I got a restriction.
Sorry.
Guess what? If the world and if the audience blocks you for dwelling in your wholeness, did you lose anything? If people reject you for being loved and lovable, if people reject you, or if algorithms reject you for standing in your wholeness, did you lose anything?
Are you still you?
Girl, TikTok said I was restricted, and somehow I'm still breathing. Watch me.
Wow.
I told them earlier in the week, I'm a 1984's model. Back in the day, before smartphones and the internet publicly released, when I walked out of the room from my school teachers on a Friday, I didn't see their asses again until Monday. My Boy Scout friends, I would see my Boy Scout friends on Saturday. We would learn how to tie the knots and bake on the camp stoves. And then I never saw them again until next Saturday. It is a privilege to be able to be in each other's energy as much as we are. And if TikTok takes me away, I'll go to Instagram. If Instagram takes me away, I'll go to Twitch. If Twitch takes me away, I'll go to Kick. If Kick takes me away, I'll go to Facebook. If Facebook takes me away, I'll go to YouTube. If YouTube takes me away, I'll go to WhatsApp. If WhatsApp takes me away, I'll go to Telegram. If Telegram takes me away, I'll go to Signal. If Signal takes me away, I'll go and read a book on the corner in the square where someone's going to gather around and say, wow, you have a God light so big. Can I talk to you the way we did in the 80s? We're unstoppable, baby. I don't care what they restrict. You cannot restrict the light in me and the freedom of my testimony. I'm talking about addiction because someone is spending their last penny today. Over the last 7 years, I used to spend my last dime to numb out my life. And TikTok doesn't want me to talk about it because they want people addicted to capitalism. I bet I wouldn't be restricted if I had a TikTok shop selling people shit that's going to break day after tomorrow. These are the things and the feelings I was trying to numb, and I'm grateful to not be numb anymore. If y'all want to join my WhatsApp community where we spread love and raise a vibration of hope every day, 24/7, then join my WhatsApp community and do it quickly before TikTok tries to take me away. The one thing they cannot break is my spirit. The one thing they cannot break is my spirit. What about the 15 million, Tara?
Okay. I didn't know what to title this segment, but we have a couple threads to read. Please make it big. I cannot see it. Here we go. All right. From Ad Sean, ADD Sean. Black slaves killed, 15 million. Jews killed, 6 million. Did you bring me the bag? Holocaust duration, 12 years. Slavery in the United States, 246 years. That was a long way that you must have carried that, honey bunny. Location of the Holocaust, Germany. Location of chattel slavery, USA. Only one group is told to forget about it, and that has no impact on their lives today. Or that it has. I think I missed the word it. And the next one is from the Reclaimed. Here. Sorry, y'all. My child likes ice, and we're whining for the ice. Here you go. All right. The Reclaim says Tulsa. Sorry, let me read the thread underneath. It says, ask yourself, if October 7th happened in your country, what would you do? And the Reclaimed responds, Tulsa, Rosewood, I think that says Slocum, Colfax, Clinton, Eufaula. I don't know how to say that one. I'm sorry, y'all. If I said it wrong, I'm sorry. Thibodeau, Williamton. No, that's not what it says. It says Wilmington. I missed a letter. New Orleans, the entire Red Summer, and so on. You know what Black folks in the U.S. haven't done? Murder people indiscriminately for any of it.
We sure haven't.
And I just those two threads, no crumbs. So that's that. Sure haven't.
Sure haven't. It's crazy. The thing that comes to mind all the time when we talk about this particular subject, and we do as often as we can privately and publicly, is that it's true. 12 years of the Holocaust, and they have anti-defamation leagues. Y'all know I was fired from my third Broadway show because I said, I dare to say that this energy y'all call God, love, source, abundance, does not have chosen people. And the producer of my third Broadway show reached out to me and said, are you saying what I think you're saying? And I was like, yeah, Jewish people are not better than Black people. Your suffering is not any worse than ours. By the numbers, 12 years to 246 years. And y'all are out here saying never forget. And we're supposed to roll over with a fraction of the pay that y'all have to this day, being pushed off of Broadway because I dare to say that God does not play favorites the way that y'all do. It's a problem. It's a problem. Black slaves killed, 15 million. Jews killed, 6 million. Once again, this is not about the oppression Olympics. I hate that there's so much mental disorder that it happened to anybody. I'm not eye for eye. That's very Old Testament bullshit. What you're not going to do is get special treatment or be very hands off as it relates to your people while also perpetuating anti-Blackness. And to this day, I can go into clubhouse rooms with people who claim to be my friends and get yelled down about the inequity as it relates to the empathy towards humans. Our skin is the uniform and the weapon, and nobody wants to talk about how to disarm the mentality that creates the harm. And while y'all are, and for those of you out there who are saying, well, you know, if they have the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, which are goons as it relates to destroying people's reputations that they believe to be anti-Semites, which includes me. I get called Dr. Anti-Semite, not my name, Dr. Flo. I get called anti-Semite online every day. These are people who do not want to include anybody else in the healing journey. And for those of you thinking that the NAACP is our version of the Anti-Defamation League, let me tell you something. The NAACP is an organization that likes to gather around Black excellence to push down Black power. They're the Black people like Al Sharpton and the Reverend Jesse Jackson, and even Martin Luther King Jr. was part of this. You know, there was a higher echelon of Black people who were given open door to opportunity, while the poor Blacks and the poor whites in the local communities continue to suffer. I'm not here for exceptionalism. I'm here for humanity. And when you look at the numbers, we should have every opportunity. Let me tell you something. I learned in New York corporate because one of my engineer buddies, she took off for a couple weeks from the firm. I was like, oh, where are you going? She goes, I'm going to Israel. Isn't real. I'm going to Israel. I said, what are you going to Israel for? She goes, there's a thing we have called birthright. Have you heard about birthright, Tara? Young people between like 18 and early 20s are allowed a fully Jewish young people, to be clear, between 18 and early 20s are allowed a full expenses paid trip to Israel to learn about their culture and to learn about the virtues of those genocidal maniacs. They wine them, they dine them, they show them all of the Holy Land experiences. They walk up to that wall and put their face to that Holy Land wall. They get the whole experience to make them soft on the oppressive ways of those people. What would happen if black people got birthright? A free trip to DC, a free trip to Africa, a reclaiming of our history and ownership of our cultural identity. You'd be living in a whole different sociological landscape. There's a reason why these people want us to believe that their suffering was longer than 12 years when we suffered for 246. And we're waking up, though. Even Tara and myself, let me not speak for her. I know for damn sure I was a person over many decades who would have never come out on a live stream and talked about the inequity. You gotta remember, y'all, I've done every career that I wanted to do in my life. Every success that I wanted to have as a child of 6, 7, and 8 years old, I've done it. I'm one of those black people who could have forgotten about everybody else and continued to ascend and not looked at you in the street. Truly. Even to this day, I could go back into the Matrix and sing my songs, get my money, and not piss on a suffering person on fire. I could do that today. But at some point, you have to see the humanity in others and apply a certain level of empathy. And those screaming about the Holocaust and never forget, who don't want to be empathetic to the anti-blackness that we currently experience in our country, have a heart condition.
An empathy condition. Yeah, for sure. And I want y'all, those of you listening, if you're feeling triggered, I just want you to listen to that last sentence from Dr. Flo again, because he's not saying all Jewish people. What he's saying is those people who are Jewish who do not recognize the anti-blackness that sits around them and within them are the problem. Right? And that is where we all get off, right? Like when we're talking about stuff, there is so much assumption that we're talking about the entirety of groups of people. And I would just like to remind you that no group of people is a monolith. No group of people. None. There isn't one.
Tara, and while we're here, I hear too much from black and brown people because I'm out and about in the social spaces every day listening to people. I actually listen more than I talk. Those of you niggas, I had no better way to say it, Tara. You niggas that are out here saying that a certain one black person is an embarrassment to all black people. They shouldn't have been acting this way. You know, how dare this guy put oil on his body to celebrate Diddy not being found guilty of all the charges. Such an embarrassment, making black people look bad. If you think that a certain black person can make you look bad, you're not sure in who you are. Knock that shit off. Like, those of you who look on the news and see white people acting ignorant and are like, see, look, they're ignorant too. You're showing your lack of intelligence if you think that one person's behavior can be ascribed to a whole group of people. How dumb are you?
That part. Like, yeah, like this is, yeah. What we sow, we reap. Yeah. I was trying to figure out which analogy I was going to go with. Okay. I was like, which one am I going to go with? But if we are constantly deciding that one, something that one person does is a reflection of the whole, we're going to reap that. It does then reflect, right, on you. On you. And also by that same token, please leave trans people alone, black people. You black people who are anti-trans.
Black women weird. Especially. Black women are transphobic as fuck.
Y'all are weird. Stop that.
Want to walk around in society saying black women don't get no respect, black women don't get no respect, but can't find respect for a person who wants to be who they say they are. Black women are always not, see, here I go. I'm part of the problem. there's a segment of Black women who are I was about to be also stereotypical, who are throwing their necks in a circle saying, also, oh my God, the Black women who, listen to Black women. Black women have all the answers. They can't have all the answers if they're misgendering people. They can't have all the answers if they don't have love for disabled Black trans women. I wouldn't trust you with my child, let alone anybody else, if you can consider a human not being worthy of love. I'm not following Black women nowhere. Those of you out here, Kamala would have never treated us this way. Kamala did not allow a single Palestinian person on her stage. She's not trustworthy either. Talking about some fucking boots on the ground.
That part.
You better find some love in your heart.
True to your heart.
And a sense of belonging. Tara, do you think that we are ready to belong to each other yet? You and I have kicked and screamed as soul siblings and egotistical performers and teachers and all of these things that we've healed and actively heal daily by our proximity to each other. Do you think after 4 years of addiction and ego and Black mama, white mama, and how dare she give me a handout when I'm broke and can't eat and all this other bullshit that we put each other through? Do you think after months of therapy that you did for the narcissist or the so-called narcissist?
How dare he throw me out of the community and take away my community? How dare he?
Oh my God. Do you think after...
I wanted to.
Say it again?
I said I could have kept the community if I wanted to. I just didn't have the confidence. Child. We're gonna talk about that at 4:30. Okay. Are we ready? So yesterday, I don't know if you saw it in the Clubhouse chat, but April, I think it was like, I just love you two's interactions. And I just kind of like, I thought it was really, it just made me giggle, because what we do, and not only what we do, but who we are as individuals, but then collectively, is so unique. Like, to be able to literally throw shit patties at each other, both like very unserious and very serious, and also have in-depth conversations, and also uplift a room, and also put the egos to the side, and also have very strong businesses that lift each other up. Like, that is not something that you see on the street. That is not
also when people say stuff like that to us, knowing our journey, I want to say, do you have 4 years laying around to actually be in relationship with someone?
Yeah, can you commit to it?
And if you want what we have, you should start today.
Yeah.
Because it might take you 4 years to get it right. And we still get it wrong all the fucking time. If I wake up on the wrong side of the bed and this lady's not had her coffee, or the kid's been touching her out, or any other thing, like, it doesn't work all the time. But we started on day one, and now 4 years later, we got what we got.
Yeah. So I think the world is ready to belong to each other again. But we shall see.
We shall see. I think we're ready. I think we're ready in direct proportion to our faithful action. I've never had more faith in Tara and I's ability to weather storms. That comes with time.
Including the sandstorm in Grow a Garden. Thing is ridiculous.
That is one thing. Tara and I play a lot. We joke that we are the most serious, unserious people on the planet. And if y'all want to join us on Roblox and Play-Doh and the coloring parties and things. We're going to have to go back over the Discord because the community talking about coloring a lot makes me want to go and do a coloring party with you. And the only place that I know that has the best community coloring is Discord. So we'll have to do that sometime later in the week. Being with people and choosing to love them and gain a deeper clarity and understanding about who they are and why they do the things that they do can be very, very freeing. I recognize through therapy and through clarity of heart and mind that every time Tara made me feel bad or did something that was not to my preference, it wasn't because she's a bad person. It's because the logics in her history around why she thought those behaviors were okay, and why we had to heal it. Was it me lashing out or my substance abuse lashing out? And was there going to be enough forgiveness in our midst in order to call a ceasefire? Time and time again. And so today, as always, we call for ceasefire now. Not only for the 2 million people who are starving at present in Gaza, and the women who are being forcibly raped in Sudan, and Haitian people who are being mistreated by their lighter kin on the same island. We have to figure out what a non-violent society looks like, both outside and inside. And if you want to do the work to stop all of the violence and the harm one to another. Over 500 Palestinians in Gaza have been killed in the last 96 hours.
I was reading on mute.
Take it away.
The 1st of July, 151 people killed. The 2nd of July, 142 people killed. The 3rd of July, thank you, baby, 118 people killed. The 4th of July, 90 people killed. It's not war, it's genocide. And then the kids in Texas don't deserve it. The kids in Gaza don't deserve it. The kids in Sudan don't deserve it. The kids in Congo don't deserve it. The kids in Iran don't deserve it. The kids in Iraq don't deserve it. The kids in Ukraine don't deserve it. Piper. Here, don't do that.
Kids in Russia don't deserve it. And any place and say, add any place and say, don't deserve it. Adults are the problems. We have failed our children. We allow bad people to continue to fail us. We will continue to fail until something changes. Yeah, I've said this, the fact that our so-called leader and president and his evil men and women counterparts can be so evil to our faces while the so-called light workers and do-gooders stand by silently, it's tragic. I'm stepping out in more boldness in my love and light mission because Trump has no problem being an asshole. And I would encourage everybody out there who has something positive to put into the world to put that out into the world with the same intensity, if not more so, greater intensity than those who are doing evil. Quickly, you can go to lovedandlovable.bio.link to learn more about Love in Action Network. You're not here by accident if you're tuning in today. We are a peer support organization to encourage, equip, and empower the radical talents, time, and treasure of bold dreamers. You can visit our Love in Action store. You can go to the donation portal if you've got some extra abundance that you'd like to share. You can text me or call me directly on WhatsApp. I'm available in all my waking hours. You can check in through our Facebook group on Facebook. You can go to our membership directory, which we're adding to. You can live chat us and get tech support immediately for our courses and services if you're trying to get in. You can go and get tickets for our mock interview and mock audition and business building, donation-based and free seminars. You can also check out our daily events calendar. If you're not sure what kind of help you need, you can click into our self-help tools. Here's just one of them. We're providing brand strategy, logo design, website copywriting, social media management, YouTube channel growth, blog, ghostwriting, landing page design, logo design, and beyond. If you'd like to fill out an application to work with us or drop your materials to be featured on our websites, you can do so at the site as well. Maybe you'd like to tag along in our newsletter on Substack, join our WhatsApp community. Maybe you'd like to become a fan of mine, led by Angie Awesome Sauce Enterprises, the official Dr. Flo fan club, Real Loves Club. Join our Clubhouse group where we meet at 11 a.m. for sure, Eastern every day. 3 o'clock flex room, unless we're doing the work of love here as we did today. You can follow me on Threads or also leave me a voice message that I can play online. And then we've got programs here with more to be listed on the site. Dr. Flo and the Love Experience and our project proposal, Unfuckwithable with Flo, which is my mastermind program, $99 a month, $25 a week. Our daily interactive rooms on Clubhouse, mock auditions, as I talked about, the People's Cabaret, and also Adopt a Black Artist program. And then check out Tara, who has many connection opportunities and offers, including Blackening the Canon group chat, Liberation Conversations group chat, an opportunity to donate to her personal operations and the lifting of her music projects. If you'd like a free trial lesson and consultation, that's there. Also, if you'd like to become part of our Adopt a Black Artist program and Adopt a Black Artist Friday and the Biz Blitz, the links are there. She also does amazing community channels and publications, the Lift Every Voice Substack, and also Soliloquy, which was her most recent album with the new one on the way. And also tap into her community web, Love and Action Network, daily programming, Clara Byam, Lady Slipper Ensemble, and also visit her website and check out her Goal Getter Workbook, which is a tool that helps people get a hold of their goals and break them down into bite-sized pieces so they don't struggle with being their loved and lovable selves. There's a free picture of me in my future, bow tie and all. I'm now hiring folks who want to be part of something bigger than themselves. We're looking over the next 25 years, if I have breath in my body, to unite the talents of diverse artists to celebrate the power of love through music, theater, and art. If you're interested in participating either online or in real life, drop an application over on the website lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link, lovedandlovable.bio.link. Tara, tell us why you are choosing to blacken the canon.
You know, I saw this thread last night from somebody that was talking about identity in classical music, and I was like, oh, I'm on the right path. Now, I did reach out to them, and they were a voice teacher, and I followed them, and I said, would you like to have a conversation? And they haven't responded to me yet. So that's fine. But anyway, and I reshared it and everything. So we'll see if they respond to me. But I really think that it's important that, as I was talking about earlier, we find some freedom in classical music. And I think that Black composers and Black people know an awful lot about what freedom is and isn't. And so I think through freedom and through joy and through studying these Black composers that are underrepresented inside of the classical field, we can, in fact, find some freedom and make classical music relevant again. And I think we do that by blackening the canon with more Black composers in schools, and more access to their music and more access to the licensure, my Lord, and all of those things. So right now it is a group chat. It is my albums, and hopefully a vocal lit course to come, and conversations with voice teachers on how to approach teaching Black students, particularly if you are a white person or allegedly white person, because that is a whole different animal. So if you want to join, Dr. Flo showed you the website and how to get there.
My husband will be home soon for cuddles and smooches. Tara's student will be up the driveway very soon. And so we thank you all for watching and holding space for love with us daily in community. Our leadership team is Tara Paolo, Studio, Poppy Water 33, and myself, Andre, in the Flow. And there's a bunch of amazing people like Tony of People Are Our Greatest Resource, Angie of Angie Awesome Sauce Enterprises. There is April of Worship with April. There's Quincy of Black Bucket Puppetry. There's just a bunch of amazing people. Loretta in Chicago at the Chicago Public Library. Dr. Cynthia, I don't want to leave anybody out, but if you come around to the WhatsApp chat or come to the rooms on Clubhouse, you'll meet some pretty amazing people who are teachers in their own right with a bunch of things to say. And we're not saying the same thing, but we are anchored around the idea that we're loved and lovable. We've always been loved and lovable, and we're always going to be loved and lovable. So thanks for watching today. Justice for Charles McNair, a black man who's been in jail for 40 years for a crime that he says he did not commit. If he got out and did a normal sentence, he would have served about 12 years. They've been keeping him in there for 40 years, paying him 30 cents a day. I think he deserves as much freedom as I have. We will continue to try to lean on these people here locally to help that along. But anyway, until next time, stay in your power, stay in your joy, stay loved and lovable, and we will see you around our fantastic and fabulous network.